Hi Floostube, Lisa from Shady Tree Stitching here, and welcome to Floostube number 3. I thought I'd try and be efficient and do one every week. May not last. Next week I've got a really busy week on, but I have some exciting things to tell you, so I thought I'd jump on and show you my progress. One thing I should say is that I've been watching lots and lots of Floostubes since I discovered them, and I've been shouting out a few people, and there's heaps of others that I've been watching, so I will do another shout out session a bit later on in this episode. But what I've noticed is that I'm attracted to people who talk about stitching. I don't really care too much about their life stories, a little bit, but mostly how it relates to stitching. So I'm going to endeavour to do that with my Floostubes, just focus on the stitching, which is what we're here for. Now you'll be very pleased to know I have no haul this week, apart from a couple of DMC threads, but no haul whatsoever. On saying that, I'd like to thank the people who commented on my previous Floostubes in search of my missing patterns, and I'm pleased to say I have located them at 123 Stitch. And surprisingly, the postage for America is not even much worse than just posting around Australia. Postage is ludicrous in Australia. It's very expensive. It costs a lot of money just to send a small packet. It's usually like $13 Australian, so 70 cents to the American dollar. That's quite expensive. So I was happy, but of course, well, I can't just have two patterns travel by themselves, can I? So there'll be quite a bit of haul coming in the next week or two, and I'll look forward to sharing that with you when it comes. I would really like to thank those of you who are returning to watch my episodes. I really appreciate it, and I especially appreciate the support I've had from a few of you, giving me some shout outs, in particular SammyJ. You really were my inspiration, and I'm thrilled that you've inspired me to make a Floostube. So thanks so much for the mention, and I look forward to catching up with you, hopefully on Virtual Stitches sometime. I've jumped onto Virtual Stitches a few times. It's a great way to sit and just chat and listen to people while you're stitching. And I've met a couple of people on there who I had wanted to catch up with, and some other new people, and I'm sure there'll be many more to come. In particular, I enjoyed meeting Stitching May. She does some lovely work and she's very funny. And also Sarah Stitches. Sarah Stitches is a lovely girl, and she's actually told me to do this. I didn't even think about the fact that I had silly black lines down the side of my video. So thank you, Sarah, for pointing that out when you watched it. I really appreciate the feedback. I am only a floobie, so I will take constructive criticism. Hopefully I don't get slammed too much, but I'm happy for a bit of constructive criticism or things that will help make it more interesting, because I want you guys to enjoy watching me. You know, you're giving up a bit of your time to listen to me while you're doing your stitching, so I want to make it a bit interesting. Now, the big thing this week for everyone seems to have been market. I had never heard of market. I live in Australia. We don't have such a thing, although I did notice there were some Australians over at market, so people do know about it, and it seemed huge. Wow, what an opportunity to go and see all those designs. That's just amazing. So I've been enjoying watching the Fibre Channel's speeches about the different people, and I was really pleased to see they actually do a podcast, because when I'm driving long distances I like to listen to something, and I don't want to listen to something I have to watch because I'm driving. I have to focus on the road. It's usually me driving. I don't tend to get driven many places. So I really enjoyed market. I have seen a lot of patterns that are interesting, but two in particular I wanted to mention that I'm looking forward to putting on my wish list for one day is Blackbird Designs Bells on Christmas Day. It looks really interesting, appealed to me. And also Therese Baird's Burlington County. I just like the pictures on that. It looks like she's doing a whole series for different American counties. Counties themselves don't appeal to me, being in Australia, but I just like the pictures on it. Seemed there was a big focus on reproduction samplers this year. Seems to have been a trend for a little while. I'm not so much on those, although I find them fascinating historically, but I like a whole range of different things. So I'd like to shout out to the people I've enjoyed watching this week, and some of these I've been watching for a while and I just forgot to shout them out, so sorry about that. Jessie Marie Does Stuff. You keep me entertained with your calm, quiet voice and all the different things you're doing with the homework. Gables Stitcher, it's a new one I've started watching. I think she's got a similar taste to me. Pyrex stitches. You're one of the first ones I watched because I looked up for Australian people first, and I loved you, and I love that you were from regional New South Wales like me. And since I've loved you, you haven't done a video. Aww, please do another one. I see you post on Facebook and you've been busy working on something, but I'd love you to do another Floostube so I can catch up with how your progress is going. Obviously Stitching May, I started watching her after I was chatting to her. And two of the people that seem to be very, very popular was Bendy Stitchy, Michelle, and also Miss Oh So Crafty. Both get a lot of things done, have a lot of energy and a lot of different projects on the go, so they're very fascinating to watch and see their development. So as for me, well, I have been busy. I have been succeeding in stitching every day. I was successful in completing the Stitch Every Day for the month of February, run by embroidery.com, and I received my notification that I have won the trophy. It's very exciting. It's a scroll frame, 6-inch scroll frame of a particular type that I'll tell you about when it arrives. So there's some more stitchy mail that's going to come. And that was really fascinating. They put the challenge out there, and I'll have the numbers slightly wrong, but something like 320 people signed up for it and 270 succeeded. So that's a good effort to stitch every day. And she's going to run that again next February, so keep your eyes open for that if you're interested in doing that. I've been still stitching, but of course I flicked all my attention over to the semi-sewn stitches side of things, participating in the Stitcher Games. Oh my goodness, I was so excited. I won District 3. I don't know how, but I did all my homework. I was one of only 8 people that did all their homework for District 3, and I won. So I'm really, really, really thrilled that I get to go to the Stitcher Game Grand Final in quite a few weeks' time. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep trying to do the homework every week because it's a really good inspiration. This week we had to do 20 specialty stitches, and I was lucky that I've been working on my Easter egg sampler from Victoria Sampler, this one. I know I said it was going to be a secret stitch, but I've decided I've shown you now anyway. What the hell, if she finds out, she finds out. So that's the sampler, and as you can see, it's quite skinny but long, and there's lots and lots of specialty stitches in there. So this is where I'm up to. And you can see up the top, I've got some drawn thread work. I'll pull him up. My first attempt at petty point. I think I did a pretty good job. And then I've continued with this for another little thing, and I've done a bit more since I posted earlier today. I've been loving it, finding it so quick to do because you see it's all mostly full stitches, done with the provided silk and other flosses, and I did this for a stitching drill today, so hopefully that will suffice. I had to do 340 stitches for International Women's Day, which for me was yesterday, but that's okay, I'll stitch for it today. We had to stitch something to do with a woman, so I wanted to get down to that little, I'm seeing her as a school teacher with her kids going on an Easter egg hunt. So a bit scary. The next part I have to do, if you look at the pattern, I'm going to have to revisit my hard hanger skills. I haven't done them for a while. So that's going to be an interesting challenge to come across, or I can just go up and do the top half of the pattern. We'll see where I'm feeling game. So I did that one, and that covers my 20 specialty stitches for this week's homework. And then I also had to do 1,000 stitches on a piece with water. Now I've been a bit poetic here, used a bit of my imagination, but I have a finish. This purple one here, you can see there, that one there is the March House from the Stitch Along, from the Painted Orphans, from Ship's Manor. And I'm loving, loving, loving doing this one. The idea is that you use up your old threads, and so you pick whatever colour. Strangely enough, the colour I've chosen is actually the colour they show on the pattern, this bright purple. But to me, it looked a bit like a castle. Thought it needed a grand colour, and I wanted to go something that was going to sort of offset the yellow and the pinky red that I'd used in the previous two. So I decided that that is my 1,000 stitches for an item with water. Because you can see the sun's coming out. It just rained. And the path looks like it's wet. Plus there's plumbing in the house. So I'm hoping they'll accept that as my 1,000 stitches. This is really exciting because I actually have two friends who are stitching this as well. And it's really interesting to see the colours they're using. You're going to get to see one of them in a couple of months' time. My good friend Susie is another one of the Shady Tree Stitches. I hadn't actually explained the name, and some of you might be wondering, why Shady Trees? Shady Trees is the name of a property that I have at the beach, where a group of friends and I get together to stitch. And in the back patio, there's some beautiful tree that just canopies inside the roof, but all over the back patio. Makes a fantastic stitching area with natural light, and it's really comfortable. So we're going to be going there in April, and my friend and I, when we were there in January, decided on the names Shady Trees, and as I said, she wants to make this floss tube with me. She just lives a few hours away. So that's my friend Jenny, and my other friend Sue, who lives back where I came from in Tamworth, which is about another 3.5, 4 hours away. So we're going to get together, and when we get together, we'll make a floss tube where you can actually meet the other members of the Shady Tree Stitches. In the meantime, you're just stuck with me. I'm sorry about that. That's just the way it is. I just wanted to get it started. Finishes. I've actually had 3 finishes this week. Oh my goodness. I do love these short stitch alongs, and my goal usually each month is to try and knock them over early in the month as soon as I can. So I've shown you the Painted Orphans one, but we also have got, to get my bit of paper back, we've also got my cross stitching magazine, Fairy Tale Sal, and look at Rapunzel. Isn't she gorgeous with her orange hair? And all that gold thread and beads I finished the day before we got the homework for the Stitcher Games. So I'm going to now scroll down to the next circles on the frame, and I need to put in 50 stitches of gold thread for the next bit of the homework. So that will keep me very busy. That's my goal for tomorrow, is to do the 50 gold stitches around the next bit of the border. At least I'll be done by the time I get to it for the next month. And that will get my week's homework done for the Stitcher Games. Now I've also been, so my other finish is the other SAL I'm working on. And this one, look at that. This is my first attempt at what I call an old-fashioned sampler. This is the Love Story SAL from Ship's Manor. And for this one, I got the thread pack from Ship's Manor. I'm loving their threads. They're gorgeous. So I might have to look at getting some more of them in the future. But isn't that cute? Look, the little man on this side and the little girl on that side, both sitting underneath a, I don't think it's a tree, but a pole, reading a book with all those beautiful trees in the middle. So this stitch along's got 6 parts to it, and the next part's released on the 14th. So at the end of this week, I'll get the next part and I can continue working on that. But I count that as a finish because I finished the part of the stitch along. So my 3 finishes are small, but they're still finishes. And that basically only leaves me with one whip at the moment that's not a stitch along. And that is my Home of a Quilter. And thank you to the person who did tell me it is a Told in the Garden. I thought so, it looked like it. The Home of the Quilter. So that's what it's going to look like. And at the moment, oh, it's bright light on it, this is where I'm up to. So I've got all the way down the bottom. I've been filling in all the browns, and I've been doing this for my entry in the Stitchopoly. And then I've got a bit further down up top, but you can see I've added a bit more to the beds, but most of the work I've done is down the bottom. Really, really love these. Really, really easy stitch, just full crosses basically. So in Stitchopoly, as I said, it's like a Monopoly board, and you roll the dice and you move your little well, theoretical figure around the theoretical board, and you land on some different properties. And when you land there, you stitch the number of stitches on the shops. And I've landed on quite a few places, like Stony Creek, 280 stitches, easy, Mirabilia, 300 stitches. I've landed on a few properties twice, but I almost died on Tuesday. Tuesdays are my most hectic day at work and at home because I've got a lot of activities with kids after school, and I landed on stitch tacks. No, stitch tacks, 600 stitches. I had 48 hours to do them. Oh my goodness, 48 hours in my busiest 2 days. So I did force myself to stay up, and I stitched and I stitched and I stitched, and I did get them done. So they were part of the Painted Orphans house, so that worked out well when I needed 1,000 stitches. That came out on Tuesday, so that was lucky. So that's what I've been doing. As I said, I have been popping in a bit to the virtual stitches, and I've also been sorting out my stash of DMC, and I'm very pleased to report that I've now realised I've only got 101 left to get, and I have the whole set. So I'll start to feel a bit like EJ, having a whole little stash that I can just go to and stitch from. But I quite like that idea because then I know I won't be short on something. Unfortunately, I went shopping today for a couple of threads to finish off my my Told in the Garden program project, but I doubled up on some. So I'm going to take them back tomorrow and trade them in on ones that I do need. So I think that's basically all I have to say for today. Oh no, one more thing. I thought, because there's not a lot to say, I thought I'd show you something. When I was on the other night on the virtual stitches, the ladies got to see not only me in my wonderful pajamas, but they also got to see me with my stitching eyewear. As I said, I stopped stitching for a while, and one of the main reasons was that I've gotten older and I have got problems with seeing. These glasses are multifocals, and I find it very hard to stitch because of finding the right level of wear to stitch is tricky. So I was stitching for a while. Now, warning, if you don't want to see incredibly attractive pictures, turn off now. I know I'm attractive enough as it is, but this is the epitome of absolute gorgeousness. So I had been using one of these headband ones. Aren't they just so groovy? And that was okay. I was doing a good job, but I did feel like a total alien. And I also found, it's all right, this hairstyle, that the headband bit tripped off a lot. So I had been using that for a little while, and it's nice and portable. Get them in different colours. I think they come with a spare lens. I'm not sure what the magnification is on it, but they're pretty easy, very inexpensive to get. But then I saw someone on Floostube with what looked like a much better pair, and so I tried to buy them. You couldn't get them in Australia, and I couldn't buy them from Amazon because they wouldn't ship to Australia. What's with that? Why do we have to be different? Anyway, I eventually found a company in China or somewhere that would ship to me in Australia. So I don't actually know what they're called, but I can show you how funky they look. It's another headband thing, but it's actually got a light on the top too. I don't know if I can turn my light on. Oh, you can't see my light. But anyway, it has a light on the top, and you can get it, see, it sits out from my glasses a bit more. So it just moves the magnification away. And you can get it with the ears, or you can make it with a headband that wraps around. So they're really quite good, and it comes with removable lenses in a whole bunch of different magnifications. So if you're doing even finer work, you can up your magnification. So this is what the box looked like. I found the box. So that's what they look like. And as you can see, they go from 1-time magnifiers till 3.5 magnification. And again, fairly inexpensive. I was really impressed. And then in the meantime, I also noticed Spotlight just had a good old pair of magnifying glasses, and they're $6 each, so dirt cheap. And you know what? I can just wear them. Yeah. Double glasses. I can see great. I don't look quite as much of an alien as I did with the other ones, and they're really light. So you can get them in all sorts of magnifications. You just got to pay $6 each time. So if you're looking for some magnification, then I recommend jumping on Amazon or jumping onto going to your local Spotlight. I It's in Australia. Can't talk about other stores, I don't know what they are. Anyway, I will look forward to speaking to you next week. Might be a bit late because part of my life, as well as being a school teacher, is I'm also a Cub Scout leader, and I play in a brass band. So I have got, for some reason, everything happening next weekend. We have a Cub camp that I've got to go to for most of the weekend, and then Sunday afternoon we have a concert for the brass band. So I'm going to be pretty busy, and I'd say when I get home Sunday night I won't be feeling like filming, but you never know. So until I next see you, keep on stitching, keep on smiling. Bye.